even go down, no?
Sorry, we're setting up for Facebook, but
yeah, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, so hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is what it is. Okay, so hi, good. Wait, how do I get this? Can I hear you? Can you hear me? Oh my gosh, we did it again. Let me see. What is it I have to turn off? Can I hear you? Can you hear me? Oh my gosh, we did it again. Let me see. I go through this every single boom. There it is. Every single week I go through this, but now we're not echoing. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies. Vragne and I were just having a little chat while I was trying to get all this going. And so here we are at a new time. We're at a new time because I realized that some of you weren't getting up in the morning and coming. And a lot of you are watching the replay anyway. So here we are on Woohoo Wednesday, and I'm having so much fun. Okay, I'm already getting pinged, so there are people watching now. Yay! All right, I'm not going to pay attention to these pings, but here we are, Woohoo Wednesday. It's a day for motivation, mindset, and turning challenges into opportunities, networking, connecting, and sometimes just being in a safe place to ask and be with our other women in business as we're going through the stuff of life. This is what I hope makes this women in business networking community a little bit different. Not a lot of crazy marketing, not a lot of manipulation, just a safe place to learn and grow together. So from now for the next little while, we are going to be spotlighting my friend, my gorgeous, beautiful, incredibly smart friend, Vragne. And she's going to inspire you and grow you and teach you and to give you a little bit of her bio, her background. She's an entrepreneur. She's a philanthropist. She's a real estate maven, founder of the World Women Empowerment and Starpreneurs TV, partner at Corbis Capital, shaping luxury design at Signature Interiors, crafting luxury experiences at Legacy Lux Ventures, elevating gastronomy, say the word for me,
Gastronomy, yeah.
Okay, I said it right, sounds weird to me. With Michelin Chef Meets Mexico, 15 years of innovation, diversity, and excellence, hashtag entrepreneurship, hashtag real estate, hashtag luxury travel. And yes, I know all of this about her because I don't know, Vragne, when did you and I meet? Like 8 years ago? 9?
Exactly. It was the time that we had the honor, or I had the honor to launch the Coral Desk, which is here in Los Cabos. And
Right.
and Sam, you were the first one to come and inspire our community of entrepreneurs there. So I think it was a very prosperous time for both of us, because I think that we could impact in a very positive way a lot of people who came to seek community in Los Cabos, and I think all of your presentations that you made there and also the masterminds were very, very useful for many, at least all the feedback since then has been absolutely marvelous. So I want to thank you first of all for your incredible work that you have been doing here in Los Cabos with inspiring, with really sharing your experience with others. And sometimes we don't even understand our influence, but when we see others, and when you see how that little that you thought that it's just something that I know can actually impact someone in a very positive way, or giving them insurance to take the next step. I think sometimes we're so and also the community and society itself is so fear-based that we just don't do things because of fear. And sometimes it's just a lot of 2 sentences, like you know what, you have everything that it takes, just do it. And
Yeah.
this was something that I really got from your masterminds when we did it. And sometimes it's even nothing new, we know it, but we get stuck in our head, and it's so hard to get out of this whirlpool of doubts and fears. And then sometimes we are with incorrect people that also feed that fear, that and if you fail, and if what if this happens, or
Yeah.
it's just, you know.
They're projecting their shit on you. They're projecting their fears, and they mean the best for you. So I'm going to grab some pieces of what you just said, because wow, that was such a valuable like dialogue that you just shared. So many great things in it. One, because you talked about me. Just kidding. But what it is, yeah. So we'll get back to me again. No, I'm just kidding. One of them is that, you know, if this is my takeaway of what you just said, if you don't show up in the world, you don't realize the ripple effect that your people are missing out on by you not showing up. Like you just said, you might say something, just it might be 1 sentence or 2 sentences, or, you know, just a phrase, and people go, oh yeah, and it makes this great, you know, impression, whatever. It's also, you said community, and we've been talking on Wednesday mornings recently a lot about community, and specifically women in communities. So you created a fabulous women's network back when COVID happened. Like, that was insane what you created. You were an entrepreneur in that kind of community setting. So thank you for doing that, because it really impacted a lot of people. But I think it's another thing when we say community. Yes, boys can be part of our community too, and not this community, but in our tribe. But community is really important. And what's happened is, now that we all are becoming entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, working from home a lot, we're missing community, right? And I'm going to tell everybody what Ragne just implied to me is, community is everything. And Ragne was also a pioneer in Los Cabos. It's also pretty much in Mexico, to tell you the truth, of doing co-working spaces, which was a community, right? Ladies, just hear what she just said, because it's really, really important that you find your people, professional, personal, ideally professionally, because she also made a great comment of this, you know, your friends who love you, they do the best they can, but they may not be the best support for you in your growing or making decisions, or you know, if it's about business, or if it's about your children, or if it's about your partners, because they have some skin in the game with you. If you make that change, it will affect them.
Exactly. There was actually one very interesting study about the influence that the closest people have on us, and they say that the 5 closest one have really that much influence, that it doesn't influence only us, but also our closest relationships. So to give you some examples, which I was just thinking, and I think for us as ladies, our fitness is always a topic, no? Or diet.
Oh, yeah. Always a topic.
Up to the point that it states that if we have all our friends struggling with obesity or that type of mindset problems, then it affects us to the point that we start to gain weight, which was very interesting point. And I was like, oh my gosh, because it's one of the topics that we always, even it doesn't matter how we look, we're always so concerned that we should be fitter, we should be having less kilos, less everything, and we should be
Right.
better and better and better. So it's interesting way to also see our conversations, because we become our conversations in the end of the day.
I'm putting a
So
pin in that. Hear that, ladies? But Agnes just said something incredible, and I supported 110%. I told you learn stuff. We become our conversations. Be careful of our conversations. Please keep going, but
yeah.
pay attention.
And just yesterday evening, I just started with one of the new books, and it stated the same idea in the end of the day, and it took it more further, that also the society celebrates a lot talking about others, and now this
Gossip, you mean, or just talk? Okay.
gossiping, and more. If it's a negative way of talking people, how does that actually affect our cortisol level? And it affects more us, our health, than the crap that comes out towards someone else. So it's an interesting point of seeing that the people that actually are so bitter and who have found that the only way to have conversations are about others, then be careful. It affects more you than anyone else. So the cortisol levels go up with doing that, and it affects in a very direct way our hormones. So
Yes.
all the mood swings, gaining weight, all of that. So be careful. Stop that, and you will see also changes.
So many reasons to stop gossiping. So many reasons. I mean, I remember when I really started doing the work I'm doing now, coaching and just being aware and present and studying and things like that. I when I learned, be careful of your words, right? It's your broadcast. It's, and your thoughts and things like that, which is a lot of what you're saying. And I recognized that one of my girlfriends, really the only thing we had in common was gossip. It was like whenever I sat down next to her, she would gossip and I would listen and I would participate. And it felt gross. Once you become aware of it, it feels gross. And it's funny because we're not enemies or anything like that, but she is definitely not in my life because that she chooses to stay in that frequency of gossip and of putting down and know-it-allness and all that. And my tribe is always open and loving and learning and growing. It's a much better space to be in. But now it's even a better space, other than just for the woo-woo, and energetically, scientifically, you're telling us that gossip or talking negatively actually has an effect on your cortisol levels, which we know is not good when this is happening, especially for us women.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also very important, if you are leading people and if you have teams, that you turn that around immediately when you have those people in the community, because in the end of the day, a lot of people say that just ignored, no? But we in some stages, and especially when we work in a high pressured environments, that can really affect us, and that was always really particularly taking care of those things, that because 80% of the team that I was running back in Estonia and in 3 other countries were women. So what do we love to do? Because there is nothing that really sometimes we can't even discuss work because of the confidentiality, whatever there might be. But what we have in common, we know another co-worker, no? So it's really challenging in so many aspects, because one, it's the cultural aspect.
The cultural aspect.
Two is also, how do you turn it around that people just put the stop? Because in the end of the day, it's like bullying, no? So how do you use your words exactly? When does this gossiping gets to bullying?
Yeah, yeah.
And the
So
marketing, then that goes, if you're a mother, the way that you even don't think of it and comment on someone's shoes or bag or dress, and our daughters or sons are listening to it and they think it's normal.
yes.
Now it starts to repeat in school level. So we really truly have that much power with everything that we say, we think, and especially how do we influence our uh, immediate surrounding. No? So yeah, it needs to be carefully taken care.
Uh, so energetically influential, right?
Yes.
You know, a word keeps coming to me, which is one of our family values,
Mhm.
and it's kind. It's not kind to talk poorly or to judge or to, you know what I mean? To gossip. It's not kind. So if we're going to talk professionally and give advice professionally, here's the thing. If you need to talk about somebody or something, here's what it is. You go to them, not about them. If it's in your office, you always talk up, you don't talk down. Right. And so what I mean by that is that you don't talk to your employees and gossip with your employees ever. Am I
One
right?
thing which worked for me as well when people were coming to me and it was sort of like the thinking that giving me that type of inputs would make me favor them more. No, they
Mm-hmm.
also stopped to it in a way. They said, okay, so that person, in your opinion, didn't do a good job or made a mistake here. So how would you have done? Because you see that there's a mistake or whatever has been committed. How would
Mm-hmm.
you, what would you have been doing differently?
Yeah.
So to turn that a lesson also that if you're going to talk about someone, then you need to be very sure that you can be better. And how can you be better? And that put a stop to people that could not think or could not come up with a better idea because it
Yeah.
was usually in a scope of work which they have no idea how to do it. So I'm like,
Really easy to judge when you haven't been in the arena.
exactly. So I'm like, okay, if you know that much, and by the way, it's not the area that your knowledge really is
Applies
about.
to. Yeah.
So what would you do differently?
So
Or
that's a skill, ladies, that Ragni is actually giving you a skill that is going to accomplish two things. One is obviously you're going to stop them from being gossy, you know, trying to throw their coworkers under the bus. But two, it is going to bring to your attention either maybe they are skilled. Maybe you're like going, this kid's smart or this person's really smart. They had a great idea about a solution in that. So now you're identifying talent, or you're identifying a small-minded person that needs to be coached, mentored, or moved out.
exactly.
Right? I think there's two things about asking that. So that's a great skill that you just gave the ladies in their business. It's like, okay, so tell me what you would do differently.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Okay, well then why are we having this discussion?
Exactly. Very true.
You know, so incredible. All right, so you have some, how fun is this, these conversations? We just go, pew, let's go this direction, right? But I saw something about Michelin chef and stuff. Tell me what are you doing? What is this?
Well, now back on 24th of October last year, the Michelin guide was actually announced in Mexico as well. Mexico, with all the rich culture of and traditions of making food, still was not part of the Michelin guide. And so last year, this is now official. Mexico entered. Mexico entered with different destinations. One of them is also Los Cabos. And what we are helping today is one to bring also the knowledge from other Michelin star chefs that already have built up the business of having a Michelin star restaurants. So we are bringing those chefs here, not only to enjoy incredible art that they are doing, but also mentoring the restaurants in a way that they can follow the footsteps and really
become Michelin.
Where they are and how can they get to the level that they want to be. So it's interesting journey. We already are working for. We have our first events and up to conferences this year set. So I will share the link with you very soon after the.
Yes, you will.
This conversation. So you can come to any of our events, or if you do have a restaurant and you need the knowledge and the guidance, then also to let us know. Just to know and be very clear, all the evaluations are managed by Michelin France. So we do not know when who is coming, when they are coming, what they are. We know what they are evaluating, but we do there. It's totally anonymous, and so
yeah, that's how it's done.
Nobody knows, and then just we get the results. No, so there is nothing that you need to be involved with us in order to get. No, very clear. No. But we are here to help to get to the point that what is needed, how do you need to ramp up, and it's interesting that it's easier to get the first one than to maintain one. So because we all know that the excellence that the client is looking after you have the star is much higher. The expectation is so much higher. The pressure is so much higher than up to the point that you get it. So it's interesting journey, and I always admire the restaurant owners who do it, because it's a lot of extra work. It's not about the food anymore. It's the excellence of the whole experience. So
yeah. And maintaining that, because now people are saying, oh, well, it's a Michelin, 2 Michelin star, or Michelin, or whatever star. So then you have to maintain that level of excellence. You know, I liken that to, I used to, and you know this, I used to be involved a lot in sales management, sales director, sales training, VP sales, blah, blah, blah. And it's so funny because I used to want to be number one. Whenever I was in an organization, I would be number one. I will tell you right now, after I was number one, I was great being in the top 3, because the pressure of the number one, or the pressure of that Michelin star, it's incredible. So to speak to what you're saying, is like, it's not that hard to get to number one. It's not that hard to get the star, don't get me wrong, of course it is, but it's maintaining it.
Yeah, isn't it? And it's I think it's in a lot of things, like sports, like once you get there, it's now the pressure is really on, because before you could do it as passion, before you could do something that you love, but now it suddenly turns that the expectation of the people that have given you the recognition is like, okay, now you can't do it once in a while. Now you need to be steady and
you're on camera all the time.
Yeah.
You're on camera all the time, so to speak, right? You're always, I mean, I like to live my life like somebody's watching me. That, you know what I mean? Which I've noticed that so now we're going to go to another direction really quick, but it's something that I think we share. And it goes to our values and how we show up in the world, show up for our kids, show up for our, partners, show up for our employees, our teams, whatever. Is I like to believe that, what if someone's always watching you? Be it God or just a human being or whatever. My kids, and you may know this, you're pretty smart. You know about the shopping cart test? Do you know what the shopping?
I have heard, but just to
No,
add
but my
point here, the John Maxwell also always says that do the right thing even if nobody's watching, and I think it's of great value to live by. So
exactly what I'm talking about. And so it's funny because my kids do that as well. I'm so grateful that they've adopted that. And you talked about it earlier, you know, when we could talk or gossip or whatever, people are watching and listening to us. You know, but even if they weren't, you know, is their power greater than us, whatever. And the shopping cart is, if no one's around, you put your cart back.
yeah,
You know, you put your cart back. It's the thing, this the right thing to do is you put your cart back. That's the right thing to do. So yeah, I just go there in the sense of live your life like somebody's watching, whoever that really important person that you influence. And I notice now, as I'm getting older, just like in the last year or something, because I really live this way, I notice that when people misunderstand me, right? I'm going through this with some family members right now because I don't really talk to them and see them all that much. I don't. It's just, you know, it's just we have our lives and we're almost 60 and they're older and da da da. So when they say, well, Samantha, yada, 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 I'm like, oh my God, that thought never crossed my mind. Like that thought never crossed my mind. I would never do that. I get so much more sensitive now that people aren't all putting their shopping cart away. If they don't know that you have to live your life like you're being watched on purpose in a good way, by the way. Big Brother is watching you, but I'm talking about doing the right things and doing things right, doing the best you can to show up in the world as a good, kind, contributing human.
that's
Right?
the biggest frustration of my son. He always gets so frustrated when people do not do the right thing, like the shopping cart, or it's just incredible. I said you would make such a good lawyer or police officer. So he's like, Mom, he did not do that. He should do that. Mom, he did that. This is no way to do things. I'm like, okay. He well, there's some people have it more I think with a character as well, the sense of justice and doing the right thing, but I don't know, my 11-year-old is truly like, sometimes I'm like, you need to relax, like you can't expect that everybody will do the same, the right thing
Yeah.
as you do. So just it's not the way that they have been
Raised.
been
Or
in an environment that really nourishing it, that type of
yeah.
actions, words, or whatever it is, no?
Well, it's how we show up in the world. And I think it's really important because we are talking to women who are leaders in this networking community, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. And I think that, I mean, the thing about this specific community that I have, it wasn't about the numbers. In other words, not everybody. Literally, I had an appointment setter go through and vet people, invite people, tell me about your business, tell me what you do, tell me about. So ladies, I want to tell you something. In this group, you had to meet criteria to be invited into this Women in Business networking community. I know it sounds weird, but I wanted to create a space where we are very like-minded. Doesn't mean we all think alike, but we're very like-minded. We believe in community. We believe in lifting each other up. We know that our vulnerability and asking for help is not a weakness. It is actually a strength. If you don't know how to ask for help, then you have not given into ego yet. Right? And it's just about, this is no competition. You know how many bookkeepers and accountants that I have in this group? Hundreds, right? Because they need a community, because they're sitting there behind the computer with numbers and Excel sheets all the time. They really, really need a community.
Correct.
So
I think I think also the way that we are relating to each other has now and always leadership has always been a lonely lonely road to take, because in the end of the day, in order to lead, it takes a lot, and especially from women, because although we really are so much advanced, if we compare the role of a woman even 20, 25,
Right,
30 years ago.
right. Yeah,
So I think it's a lot of pressure as well, because we want to be and we want to prove that we can do it and we have the ability to
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
I have, and maybe as well, like lately I have been thinking that in some situation I'm like, why am I'm pushing so much? I know that I can do it. The rest know that I can do it. So do I really need to do it just to prove myself again? No. And I think that's a stage in the, like, where you feel that the majority really is leveling up with your knowledge. No,
Hmm.
we there's so many things. Can we do it? Yes, but we take ourselves to the extremes,
Yes.
having then not taking care of ourselves. Like, you just can't be accelerated in all the areas of your life all the time. So
Client just before you, just the client that I was, no, 2 hours, an hour before you and I are meeting. Her word for the year is decelerate. Decelerate. She's not her best when she's driving every single area all the time. She's not her best. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. And
Perfect.
I think we really need to see our life and our projects as well, with the seasons. There is time to acceleration. There is time to take time off. There's time to go in. There is time for everything. But
Mhm.
we just get in this, and there's just get so much
Cycle.
into it that you don't just take the time to just say, like, okay, now I'm doing all of it, and does it really work? Because it doesn't.
No, no,
Someone,
no. You can't drive the car in the same gear, 100 miles. You're going to burn out your cylinders. And
exactly.
you know this, I've talked about this, like, for instance, when I talk about my coaching and my life design work I do with people in the book and all that, is I kind of talk about, the areas of your life that are typically most important. So one would be your family. In your case, obviously, your beautiful family and your son, and your relationships, your friends and da da da. And then I talk about your time freedom and money freedom, right? Time freedom is important, like you're talking about the seasons, right? And then career, what's the work I do in the world, and creative expression, and then health and well-being. So what I think we find in a lot of society is that we're living by default. I can do it, so I'm going to do it. I'm good at this, so I'm going to do that. And yes, I can do that. I can do that. Instead of sitting down, making a plan, like they make vision boards of what they'd love to have in their life, we need to do a life design plan. This is what I've been doing, as you know, for a dozen years with people. It's the end of 2024. I'm so happy that I did this and went here and blah, blah, got this much vacation and my son is doing that and my business is thriving. I've got this much in the bank, because now we did it on purpose. And if we're reading that vision that we're talking about, we know, oh, I'm running my ass off. I'm exhausted. Everything's falling through the cracks and I haven't even planned a vacation.
Exactly.
Purposeful.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to looked at it. My mind changed with one of the things that was, again, John Maxwell has great influence in my life, and
Yeah, I remember when you started working. That was
he,
amazing.
and he actually says that, if your five most important values are not in your calendar, then you're not advancing in life. And it took me a while to really understand my values, my calendar. And then I finally understood what is in our calendar. Well, in our calendar usually are our responsibilities or other people asking the investment of our time in them. What is not in our calendar is, yes, our values, our health, our personal relationships. They're not.
I'm writing this down. That's spectacular. And
so where do you start? Like really, really taking to the point that, okay, what are my 5 most important values and how am I dedicating time on daily basis?
mm-hmm.
And the calendar should be filled with those
Yes.
before you start to add the other people. And then he also says, when someone asks you to take the time out to meet them, ask the question, what does that meeting or that person, how does this meeting will impact you?
Mm-hmm.
Is it only give me, now I want to see you, and then I want something of you?
Mm.
Or is it nurturing really the relationship? Is it
Right.
nurturing your values? Is it nurturing seeing your friend? Is it nurturing growing your business? Is it what is this giving up your time, which is our most valuable asset,
Right.
on a really, really daily basis? So I had never asked, like, if someone was like, can you meet me on Tuesday at 2? I'm like, yeah, Tuesday at 2 is ready. I never asked, hey, what is this about?
Hey.
And now by doing it, sometimes it's like, I don't know, 5 minutes on the phone, and I don't need to drive there, take time, lose my time. And it's like, you know what? I can't really help you. Or this doesn't really, really like, you know how many invitations to interviews like this I have?
Right.
I'm just, okay, who is your audience and how do you see that I can influence or really, really giving them something that they take time,
Amen.
they invest in me because they show up, they listen to me, so they are investing their time in me. So who are they? And if it doesn't really align with who I am, what I can bring to the table, I say, I'm sorry, but I think you haven't done your homework because you're wasting the time of the audience that shows up and invests in the people that you are bringing on the table. So it takes a lot of it's just when you start, it's like, oh, how do I say no, or how do I? But once you get it on that, it's like, yes, no. It's like it,
Yeah.
the checklist, like the bad and the yeses and the nos.
Yeah.
Well,
The yes and the not it's. Yeah.
okay, that's it.
So I'm going to put this into different language and tie it together for how I hear and implement what you're doing, because this is a huge tool for people. Ladies, pay attention to this piece. Okay. So Ragne just talked about a skill that she learned from John Maxwell, which is that your 5 values show up in your calendar. Y'all know me. I am a calendarizing freak. When I started teaching calendarizing, it wasn't even in the dictionary. It was a made-up word. It is now in the dictionary, and I'm going to say it's because of me. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm joking. You know that. Okay. So as you were talking about that, of course, I'm swirling in my brain. And because I do life design, because I'm very clear about my time freedom and my family, and, I'm very clear about that. I can tell you that my values do live in my calendar, not even purposefully, just because it's the life design. So if you're wondering, well, how do I get my values? How do I put kindness in my, whatever? Okay, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is your health and well-being. Where does that live on your calendar? Your dates with your spouse or your children or your family, right? You can date all of them. Date doesn't have to be romantic. Where does that live on your calendar? Your self-care, if it's the gym, maybe it's a facial. Maybe it's I sleep in on Friday mornings, whatever that is that treats yourself, that you know, I am taking care of me. Where does that live on your calendar? Whew. Love the saying. That you said something here. It's like how you spend your time is how you spend your life. Right there. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. If you're, spending your time lamenting or not doing good or great things for yourself and others, this is what you get to look back on. And I want you to remember that time is a trade. What are you trading your time for? What are you trading your time for? I love the fact that you know who your target market is, Ragne. I love that. Everybody, you should know who your target market is. And I believe in narrow and deep versus, shallow and wide. That's what allows you to say no. That's what gives you the boundaries, is you know who you should be talking to and who you should trade your time with. And I do the same thing. I do a lot of, not a lot, but I do a couple of podcasts, whatever, a month. I'm very specific. I get invited on shows and it's like, no. And it's nothing against you, but I can't serve them. It's a little different because I'm a life coach, but if they want to talk about something that's not in the realm of women and life and business, I'm not your person. Go find somebody else.
Exactly. It's also honoring their audience time and effort to we all know that how hard it is to find even the time to come and listen to things.
Oh my gosh.
Education, if your orientation is not to learn something new every day, forget it.
Right.
Nobody comes. But
yeah.
if this is your focus to really get yourself to the next level through listening to other people's stories, like today, I think if you have been taking notes, you will go back and say, oh my gosh, this 1 hour gave me more than reading 10 books, because it's the summary of reading those 10 books to begin with, then
yes.
putting them in practice, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and in the end of the day, you really say, like, what is the benefit? Just exactly, how do we spend our time? So
well, I love spending time with you, and you and I don't get together enough, so we need to do that more.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do. I'm going to do my takeaways from today. And it's also why I would encourage the women to pay attention and listen. Even if you're just playing this in the car, you don't have to watch us, whatever, but listen. There's so many good tidbits. The reason I do a Woohoo Wednesday and I'm not doing a podcast is, one, I don't want a commitment of a podcast. I don't want to. I just don't. My time is so important to me. The goal is to remind the women in the group, you're not alone. There's people that might be further up the ladder than you. So pay attention. We're giving away free advice and free mentoring. If you can leave this 45 minutes with one golden nugget, one thing, it was worth your time, right? And I know how incredibly busy you are. And I know that the gift that you gave today of so much. I mean, the gift you gave today, we had the greatest conversation. I love it. And I also have to give you a compliment. I realized I'm like 20 years older than you. And I never knew that, because when I first met you, you were quite accomplished. You had your poop in a group. Talking with you now and seeing you now, oh my God, you've grown 100-fold over the last few years. Like, wow. And that wasn't an accident. That was you leaning in and studying and growing. And, I so proud of you, my friend. So proud of you. You're just a you've exceeded my expectations of just the person you've become so far.
Thank you. Thank you. To be honest, thank you for this opportunity to, well, to see you after a while again.
Yeah.
But also I want to thank you, everybody, that you showed up today. And I really, really hope that you did make some notes. If you didn't, go back to it. And more than just taking notes, I invite you to take action. Don't be afraid. Let all those doubts to go away, because in the end of the day, we learn even more when we sometimes fail in doing things, but you
That's
can't
feedback.
learn if you don't take the next step. And that's exactly what has happened to me those last, let's say, 3 years, that I made the self-development as my #1 priority. Because when you really focus on that, you focus on all the values that you truly want to have in your life. Because one thing is that what we want, and the other side is what we get, or what is the result. We can want a lot of things. We can do the vision boards, and we can do writing, and we can do a lot of things, but how do we really apply that to our life? Like, what are the concrete actions that we
actions
every day? So that's the difference. It's not making plans. We are incredibly good at making plans, and especially when we are leaders and working in a company, we have we know exactly what the next 3, 6, 9 months, 1 year to 3 years in our business should look like. But we don't have slightest clue how our personal life should be also in those terms.
Amen.
So the same type of life audit, I think, if we could invite today, or that conversation serves you to do that life audit, whatever strategy you want to or tactic you want to use for it, go ahead. There's so many, and read Samantha's book, which really gives you the tools to do it. So I think it's just game changer, and it will give you a great boost to take your focus, and also take you to the place that you want to end up.
Well, and you're living proof of it, sis. I mean, like I said, I've had this luxury of knowing you for almost a decade, and to see you now and listen to you, your growth is exponential. And this is another thing, I want to put a bow on this for everybody listening. You do not do personal development just for yourself. Here's a great example. Look at Ragne right now. She just gave you so much incredible, golden nuggets, so many things that you could apply for your life. If she didn't do the work, she couldn't have shared it with you. So guess what? She did it for herself, but look how many people are being impacted by her growth. Same with you. We don't design our lives. We don't, improve ourselves just for ourselves. Yes, we are definitely the #1 benefactor, but there's many benefactors from us doing this for ourselves. It is not selfish. It is selfless. Yes, I said that. Okay, it's in my book. And in my book, I also have a chapter on planning to plan. So you and I are talking the same language, sis. All right, I got to tune us out of this here. So if you're not watching this on Facebook, then you can find it on my YouTube channel. You can go look there. But Agne, I hope you share this all over, because you're brilliant, and people need to see more of your brilliance and your impact that you're making in the world, because you're a pretty cool chick. And I really, really just want to kind of hug you right now. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to hit the get notifications in the group so that you don't miss your opportunity to talk and ask questions of our inspiring women in business. And if you're interested in learning more about Dragne and what she does, she's going to be all in comments. Go add all your stuff in the comments in this, please, and tag and do all that good stuff so they can find you and ask you anything. And of course, as we've been talking a little bit about my book, if you would like to purposely design your life, The link can be in comments as well. So I gotta go. I got another client in 6 minutes. You and I ran long because this was fascinating. And thanks again for trading your time with me and us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation, and enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Bye, doll.